Hello everyone. In the last video, I have discussed a use case on which if you have multiple failures, how to rerun them using testng.xml. Now I have another use case where I want to run each failed test case at the time of the execution itself. That means if I am running 20 cases, after third case, the fourth test got failed. And I want to run immediately fourth case again. So for that, testng has a feature called RetryAnalyzer. So in order to implement that RetryAnalyzer, you need to create a custom class. So I name it as CustomRetry, which this class has to implement one interface, IRetryAnalyzer. So then whenever you're implementing an interface, you have to provide the body for unimplemented methods. There is a method called retry, which we need to override. Here, the functionality of this retry method is if you want to run a test case, let's say I have a test method which got failed. So if you want to rerun them, you have to return true here. So true if the method has to be retried, false otherwise. And I want to run one time, right? So let's say int. There is a logic that I am trying to implement. So and count plus plus. So whenever we got here, the count will be incremented. And now if I want to run one time, so if maximum retry count equals to count, return false, else return true. See, what this logic is doing is, it first, if any test case gets failed, the value of count is 0 and it comes to this retry, value will become 1 and it will check that what is the maximum count. It is not equals to this 2, right? Then it goes to the else and it is going to return true. When it returns true, the test method will execute again. And second time, if it failed again, the control comes here and the count is 1 already. So it is incrementing 2. So maximum retry count is 2. So then it is returning false. Then it is not going to retry. So that is the logic that I have implemented in the custom retry. So let's say, for example, I have a new case class example 5 and I'm going to write a method public void test 21 verify sample 21 at the rate test. Okay, so system.out.println I am verify sample 21 asset dot field. So if I run this test case as it is, how many times it is going to execute? It is going to execute only one time because we did not have a relationship between this custom retry and this particular method. So if you see, that is like default test, one test case has been executed, one test case has been failed. And if you see here, default suit, one test case has been executed and one test case got failed. So these numbers are very important because we see some discrepancies there in coming executions. So just keep a check on that. Now, what I want to do is I want to make a relationship between this method and custom retry. this will be happen through this attribute custom retry analyzer equals to which class? Custom retry dot class. Okay, so this is in the same package, so I don't need to import anything. Now, if I run this case, this particular in the first execution, this test case gets failed, and it is goes to the custom retry, and then it executes it again, and second time also it's got failed, and then it stops the execution. So that's what I'm expecting to be happened. If I run this, see. So total, how many cases has been executed? Uh, Total 2 cases got executed. Okay, and see, one got passed. Sorry, one got failed. Another got moved into skips. So same thing happened here. So another when 2 test cases got failed. So one it kept into one, another one it keeps to skips. Uh, I just want to run one more time. See if I give 3. How many times it's going to execute? Run as testng test. So total 3 cases has been executed and one got failed and 2 got skipped. So you understand this concept, right? Like when you use custom retry or RetryAnalyzer, your cases will execute multiple times based on the logic that you have written. Okay. And what exactly happened here? I have this test method. Okay, let's say test one. And I put retry equals to, like, let's say I want to run 2 times. 2 times the like failed test cases has to be executed 2 times. Then first time it got executed, it got failed. And when retry comes, another time it got executed and it got failed again. This previous failed has been moved to skipped. Okay, and third time it has executed, it got failed. And then this one got moved into skipped. So total 3 test cases has been executed, one got failed and 2 got skipped. This is the logic that they have put into here. For example, I have a logic int I equals to 0, I plus plus, if I not equals to 2, so dot fail. Now if I run this case, what will happen is, first time it got failed, second time it got failed, third time it will be passed. Sorry, second time it is passed, like 1 plus 2, right? Okay. Now what happened here? If you see, total cases has been executed 2. So because like first time when it is failed, it goes to retry. It asks you to retry, and then second time I value is 2. So when it is 2, it is not going to fail. As a dot fail not will be not be executed. So it got passed. So 2 times executed, the third time it will not execute because it's got passed. Now the first one got failed, right? Which has been moved to skipped. Second time, instead of failed, it got success or passed. So one moved into skipped, another one is in success. So say if I put 3 here, what will happen? It fails 2 times and third time it's going to pass. And then you'll get 2 skips and 1 passed. So 3 runs executed and 2 skips is happened. Okay. This is how we have to implement the RetryAnalyzer in test engine. Now, we have few cases that I want to discuss here. The first problem that I want to do is like you have hundreds of methods and you want to implement this to each method. So what you need to do is you need to go to this every class and you have to write RetryAnalyzer equals to custom retry dot class. So this is very difficult work, or it's a painful work that we want to do. So, but there is a solution for this. How you usually write your cases is there is a parent class, let's say base test, and all your classes will be extending this base test. So, and maybe you will have before suit. So in testng you will have before suit, right? You might have before suit. So in the before suit, what I do is I'll get all the test methods and I'll set this RetryAnalyzer to this method. How I'm going to do that? If you see here, as of now, I don't have any base super class. I've just created it and I just created a class, sorry, method. Straight before suit. Uh, there is a concept called auto injection in testng, so that these methods can automatically take few kinds of objects. ITest context is one of that. Okay. So this context contains all test methods. So if you call this get all test methods, you are going to get an array of ITestng methods. So what I do is I'll iterate all these methods and I'm going to set this is the method dot set RetryAnalyzer to new RetryAnalyzer, new custom retry. See what happened? I've just put this logic. So I iterate through all the methods, whatever the methods that you are going to run through this suite, and I have set RetryAnalyzer class object to that. So now this base test you can extend to each of your class so that it will have base test. This is like general use case. It happens in Selenium. All the settings will be done in the one parent class that is extended through all your test classes. Now I did not put anything else here, so I'm going to run now. Testng.xml, right click, run as testng suite. See, total I have only 20 cases in which 5 got failed, right, in previous cases. Now, if you see here, total 33 has been executed. Okay, so this failed cases has been executed couple of times. So, which moved into skips. Okay, see, all the cases has been executed. Now, there is another problem here. Actually, uh, in general, what we have is you have 20 cases and 5 got failed. And in your report, how it looks like. So 20 got executed, 5 got failed, and 0 got skipped. But as of now, the same scenario, if you implement a RetryAnalyzer, you are seeing different number, 33, 5, and 12. Maybe I should remove that 21 cases, I think, because of this example 5. I'm just deleting, or I'm not considering that example. So total 30 has been executed, 5 failed, and 10 skipped. So here, this is the count. See, you have got extra 10 cases, but this is not what you expected or what your management expects. How it should look like is uh, 20 executed, and in between, let's say, uh, in the reruns, one or two might get passed. Let's say 3 got failed and 0 got skipped. This is what your management or anybody expected that. But actual count where you see in the testng report is different. Okay. So for this, we have to write some custom code to remove these skips. Okay. So how these skips has been loaded is you'll have passed tests, you'll have failed tests, and you'll have skipped tests. Okay, so from past, like let's say 15 cases are here, and failed, you'll have 5 cases are here. In the skipped, you'll have 10 cases here. These skipped because of the reruns. So what I do is, whatever the cases that have been failed, whatever the cases that has been failed, I don't need to be uh, put that in the script. So these cases, like these failed cases, I'll remove from the scripts. Okay, that is one case, one scenario. The second scenario is few cases on the retry, it might pass. So those will not be available in the failed tests, but passed test will be available in the skips also, which I don't need them. Okay, so that I'll remove them. Why I don't remove all the skips? I just ignore these all skips, right? No, we should not do that. There is some scenarios whenever you got the failures in the configuration methods. Configuration methods are like before set, before suit, before test, before method, after methods, after class, or before class. All these are configuration methods, right? If something gets failed in the configuration methods, it moved into script. So we need skips, but we don't need skips which has been either failed or passed. So these two scenarios has to be handled. We need to remove those test methods. Okay, that is our scenario or use case that has to implement. This will be done through a concept called listeners in uh, test engine. Okay, so I have a separate video to explain what's listener. Okay, in the listeners, what we have is there is a class called, sorry, I have just written one listener, custom listener. See, this is the listener class which implements ITest listener, okay, which contains all the events that we have occurred in testng lifecycle. So one of the event is on finish. What this on finish is, when it will be executed is after running all your cases. So this on finish is going to be executed. Now, what I have done here is, so I test context, we just see this. I get these all the skip tests. We got the results of this, whether it's passed or failed, skipped and failed. So I got these two results, and I've iterated through failed tests and I get each test method. Okay, that method I checked in the skip test. If that is available in the skip test, what I do is I just remove it. If it is not there, I'll just keep it. So with this iteration, what I'm going to get is I'll filter all the failed tests from the skipped tests. So now in the skip test, only original skip test and the cases which has been passed will be available. So for that, I am iterating through skip tests. I'm getting this if the skip test is more than one. Let's say I have five methods with the same name. I don't need that, right? I just keep one there. Okay. So I'm removing all those things. I'm keeping only one. And there is another condition is like if it is available in the past tests. Okay. So if it is available in the past test, I don't require them. So I'm just removing that. These are the two conditions that I'm applying here to remove the skips. So which will give us the exact count. And if I want to run testng.xml with this custom listener, what I'm going to do is I need to add a tag here. Listener, listeners, and listener class name equals to, we have to provide the contact class name. So how do I do that? Listeners dot custom listener. So this is the way that you have to use your listeners in testng. See now what happened? Only the exact count, how many cases has been executed, how many failed, how many skips. But you'll get the other count here. Okay, that's fine. There is another way of getting the actual like 30 cases executed and 5. If you need it, it's different case. Okay, so if you check in CT3, this is the one. Your testng fail.xml, these are the failed cases, and you have this basic.xml, this is the result. Okay, so total executed 30, 5 been failed, and then skips are 0. So you have another one, testng results.xml. Okay, so which contains actual skip 0, failed 5, and then total passed 15. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to publish this testng-results.xml into your Jenkins or anywhere, because if you publish this XML, it is not going to give you exact count. So remember to publish testng-results.xml. If you have any questions about this, just add a comment so I can reply to that. And also, if you want this source code, I'll be pushing it into the Git. I'll share the URL in the description. Thank you.